We are not a stagnant old software.
They're trying to bring some new life into the security industry.
We're releasing new features every single month.
You know, Belfry is a company that's young and hungry. They are not complacent. They're growing.
We transitioned to Belfry, and really that is how we keep track of everything.
We would not be able to grow if Belfry wasn't our system.
Belfry allows us to show our employees in many ways what winning looks like.
We would be here for hours if we went through the entire list of all of the features and functionality that we have actually rolled out in 2025.
Hello, everyone. I'm Alex Tulenko. I lead the customer experience team here at Belfry, and we are here to count down our top 10 product releases of 2025 before we give you a little bit of a forward look. With me, I have our co-founders. First off, Jordan Wallach, our CEO, as well as Alex Tulenko, our CTO. And gentlemen, before we dig into the top 10 list, I'd love to get a sense from you, just in a single sentence, for how you would essentially wrap up 2025 releases and how, in general, how you feel about them.
It's been a big year. I'd say we've more than doubled our base of security businesses that we're serving across the country, and they've given a ton of great feedback, and really excited to have invested a ton of time from our product engineering team into just servicing the needs of our businesses nationwide.
Yeah, I mean, just one word would be comprehensive. It's making Belfry work as best as possible for all of the varied needs of the different agencies that we partnered with.
It's been a monumental year, and it's been awesome to be part of it and seeing our customer base grow along with it too.
100%.
All right. Well, I have here our top 10 list. We're going to go from 10 to first in terms of stuff we're excited about having released in 2025 before getting into 2026 a little bit. Number 10, I'm going to throw this one over to you, Alex, to start with. First and foremost, service rates, advanced pay breakdowns. Obviously, in the security industry, there's a need to really differentiate pay rates, not just by somebody's tenure with an organization or their role with an organization, but what they're doing, what certain sites they're working on, and those kinds of things. And we've built a lot of complexity into the payroll system to accommodate for that. We'd love your take on that.
This is one of the most complicated aspects of security businesses, and something that Belfry's very proud of being able to support. It goes back to that comprehensiveness that we're building into the product.
Yeah.
And especially difficult to manage when maybe your officers work some shifts at one pay rate and then pick up others at a different one at the end of their shift.
So let's say an armed versus an unarmed guard. For an armed officer, we start a bill or pay rate at X amount. And then Officer B makes a different amount than Officer A. Beyond that, Client A, you might bill or pay a different rate than if you have either one of those officers work at Client B.
Sure.
And being able to have the flexibility to set up those bill and pay rates both at either the employee level or the site level if needed. And if not, then it just defaults to that global rate.
Whether it's employee rates, post rates, site-specific overrides, floating officers that maybe make the same rate regardless of where they're working, we're now able to support all of these different configurations that we've heard are just necessary for these firms, and able to support defined roles like armed, unarmed, supervisors once, and then reusing those to avoid maybe messing up the pay rates or forgetting to update some of them as you are creating new sites.
I think it's number 10 on the list, not because it's like super exciting, but it's super necessary nonetheless. So we definitely wanted to include it in the top 10.
Absolutely.
Maybe a little less sexy than our next one, which I'm going to throw to you, Jordan. One of the wow factors of Belfry when you first log in or when we first show it to new prospects is the live dashboard, which we made a lot of improvements on. So I'd love to get your sense on the live dashboard itself and the improvements we've made to it.
A lot of our partners have the live dashboard up on big screen TVs in their offices, and that's how they have in real time a sense of our officers clocked in when they're supposed to, have incidents been reported, and maybe they need to check out what's going on site, have breaks not been taken. So the old dashboard that we had gave some visibility into those schedules and even officer locations. And we loved that initial concept. We wanted to expand it even more to give just answer more questions that our back office team members were asking us. For instance, the shift drill down that we added, it really summarizes all the tours that were assigned to that officer over the course of their shift, where they completed, how many checkpoints were scanned out of how many that were supposed to be scanned, maybe, the reports that were filed within that shift, breaks that were taken or not taken, historical locations that are tracked over the course of a shift and not just that point in time where the officers currently are. And so putting that all in one place without having to maybe click and open multiple tabs has been a huge help to just give those dispatch teams more visibility into what's going on in real time.
Yeah.
When I'm using the live dashboard, it really helps me stay on top of everything, and I can quickly see if an employee is on a break. I'm also able to drill down into their shifts to make sure they're staying on schedule with their tours. And the heat map is great because I can make sure everyone is staying within their assigned boundaries and not going off site. One of the things I rely on most is how easily I can review the activity reports and incident reports at a glance. So then if the client reaches out, I know exactly what happened, give all the details of the incidents, and that function really assists me.
Earlier this week, I did a little bit of a session with existing customers, new operations person who hadn't even logged in yet. And as soon as we pulled up that screen, they're like, whoa. I was like, yeah. Next on the list, we're going to throw it back to you, Alex, which is basically all around billed versus unbilled overtime. This has been a hugely requested thing for us because obviously in the security industry, we're dealing with razor thin margins, and the firms who use Belfry really want to control what they're billing for.
We've had the kind of real-time overtime forecast as part of the schedule for a long time, but as you know, not all overtime is created equal. Needing to see what is billed versus non-billable. You can't necessarily forecast if that's actually going to eat into your margins or not. And so we've really built this ability to designate and view billed overtime on the schedule so that you can see that real split in between what you're going to pay out to your officers and what you're going to bill out to your customers in order to really know which of this overtime is going to hurt you and you need to work on cutting down on, and which of this overtime is going to be a little bit less impactful to your margins because it's also going to be billed for.
That schedule forecast has probably been the most impactful component of Belfry scheduling platform, like giving back office teams visibility into those metrics before schedules are published, before shifts are worked, before payrolls run, has just made a huge impact. I know a lot of our partners gather all their operations managers into a single room before publishing schedules, and they're filtering to each supervisor and saying, what's your unbilled overtime rate?
Yeah.
So I think just giving those teams the tools in real time, also shown right above where they're making those schedule decisions, it's made a pretty big impact. We're really excited to expand on it even more.
It's kind of a duality too, because you've got the control of the overtime up front and what you're actually scheduling that will go into overtime.
Yeah.
But then there's also the capabilities of then billing for it on the back end to make up for some of that overtime that either you planned for or didn't plan for. So
Exactly.
Number 7, Jordan, we're going to stay with you on this one. This has been highly requested from California customers, but really just because it's a compliance must-have for California customers, which is shift attestation.
Yeah.
Could you give us a little bit of rundown of that release?
Yeah, happy to. So we designed this feature, as you said, to help firms maintain compliance with local labor laws. And again, it's not required functionality. Not every company needs to use shift attestation, but when it's enabled, officers can now submit a short form, basically when they clock out, to verify were their time cards accurate as presented? So based on the clock in and clock out buttons that they're pressing, the breaks they're taking over the course of a shift, can they attest to the fact they were offered the breaks that they were entitled to and that they took the breaks they were entitled to? And so there's a lot of discrepancy and anomaly tracking within Belfry, also based on this attestation, so that if an officer flags a missed break or some irregularity with what they did in their shift, it can be reviewed, exported by the back office. And so this has vastly helped our California clients just represent that they are in compliance, their officers have been provided the breaks that they're legally entitled to, and just ensuring that they have what they need.
Yeah. Super important. And that takes us right into number 6, which I'm going to stick with you on, which is shift marketplace improvements. Marketplace isn't anything new in Belfry this year, but there have been a lot of improvements made to it.
100%. Shift Marketplace is already the scheduler's best friend. Operations managers and supervisors in these back offices have a stack of tasks that they just constantly are going through. No-shows, call-offs, escalations from clients, incidents that are being reported. And so we wanted to make a really easy way for schedulers to blast out a number of shifts without having to manually call officers and see if they're available. So I'll hop right into the demo here. Shift Marketplace starts really from the scheduling platform. So when I click on any open shift, as an operations manager, I already get presented the list of best possible fits for this shift, but at the bottom left-hand corner, you'll be able to send an offer out. And so this now takes it from being able to choose somebody to now offer up this shift. Now, we always have these lists of constraints, and one highlight with Belfry is that these constraints are dynamic. Let's say you're scheduling out a shift on Sunday, but between now, maybe it's a Monday and Sunday, an officer could enter overtime, whereas currently they're not on overtime. Now, a lot of other systems, these offers are created right when you send the offer and they're not updated. We are dynamically updating that. So an officer won't be in unbilled overtime when, if they can elect to take that shift later on in the week. So I can check, I want officers who are certified, who have the relevant site experience, who aren't on overtime, who are below a certain hours limit, hit next, and then post that shift out to that list of officers. Now, officers can claim these shifts first come, first served, meaning the first person to take it, look at that shift, or the back offices can set up a queue-like system where if an officer is interested, they can then look through the list of officers and pick the best fit from there. So some of the main improvements are, one, we've heard officers have this big list of shifts that have been offered to them, but maybe doesn't work for their schedule for whatever reason. So the ability to decline a shift offer, give that back office just the visibility that they might have posted to 15, but now only 3 are left outstanding that haven't declined the offer. Also, just seeing the timestamps of who has been offered a shift before, where they offered that shift. And so maybe there's some manual follow-ups.
Awesome. Lots of good stuff.
I have a call list of these 10 people that I know like hours, but of those 10 people, there's only like 3 that can work this shift. I'm also not thinking about the 20 other people that could possibly work this shift because it's all in my head. You just get basically an indicator of like, hey, these 10 people are interested. So you can choose from that. And so that's been really helpful. We'll call it, give it to the fishes. You put the rod out and reel it out. That's the bait. So when we put it in the marketplace, like, hey, we got to send it to the fishes, see if you get a bite when people request a shift. A bite and then hook, fill the shift. And we use it all the time. Like literally this morning, somebody called out instantly, put it out there in the market, see what we got, had 6 people request it, just like that. Instead of having to actively go text, call, hit up as many people as you can until you get a yes. It's just like, hey, there's people out there who want hours. There's people out there who want to work. We say that all the time. They just don't even know it yet. And so utilizing the marketplace is like, it's great because 100%. Now they can come and find the work.
Alex, your team has been busy.
Everybody's busy.
Those things. And among other things, there's a number 5 on the list is really a collection of features all related to employee onboarding and the things that you have to accomplish when you're pulling new employees in. So we're talking about e-signature, which has been really widely requested, and document management as well as task management are things that we've all built into that onboarding flow. Can you tell us a little bit about the feedback that you heard and what your team did to solve for that?
In this industry, one of the biggest challenges is the need to constantly hire. 80 to 100% turnover is not uncommon. And so it's not enough simply to hire these additional officers, but you have to successfully onboard them, train them, and get them into those shifts before you're really able to fill the work that you've been contracted to do. And so working back from that, with this being such a big problem that's also specific to this industry, we wanted to incorporate customer feedback about how we could improve that onboarding flow, whether it is through features like e-sign, so that officers within Belfry, within their accounts, can acknowledge different policies, whether those are employee handbooks, vehicle use agreements, sexual harassment policies. All of those can now be done through Belfry and have documented e-signatures on top of them. More fine-grained document management to see who can see those is extremely important because you're dealing with a lot of potentially sensitive documents, a lot of sensitive information of your officers, and you don't necessarily want to let just anyone have access to those. And just more generally, just more tooling for task management, both with the officers while they're onboarding, as well as once they've been onboarded, to keep them up to date with changes to handbooks, policies, whatever it might be, and to track those within Belfry to make sure that everybody's staying compliant, staying up to date with all the information you need to employ them.
Yeah. It's so important because if you're hiring a bunch of folks, it can be overwhelming and super hard to keep track of so-and-so has signed this document, not that it's acknowledged this policy, hasn't done that. And so the fact that that's all now built into Belfry is hugely important. One of the things that we launched this year, Jordan, is insurance and the ability to get quotes via Belfry for insurance. I'd love to pick your brain about that a little bit.
Yeah. Security companies have such wide-ranging needs, and it really doesn't end with the software they're using. There are all these existing services that they need to run their businesses effectively, and insurance is one of them. Traditional workers' comp insurance, even general liability insurance for security companies, just wasn't really built for the fast-changing schedules and headcount that's common in this industry. And so most workers' comp policies today are estimated upfront. So you forecast out what your payroll is going to be for the year, and you pay a large premium often upfront, but then you deal with a really time-intensive year-end audit in which the data has to be extremely clean, each officer labeled with the right workers' comp code, each industry labeled with the right risk and exposure amount. And so it's a real pain from the just big surprise bill at the end of the year and then gathering all that data in one place. So we're really excited to have announced our partnership with Willis Towers Watson. They're a global brokerage, and they've built a support team to just service the security guard service industry and their insurance needs. So they've helped us audit policies. In the pilot, we found that security companies didn't have the coverage that they needed. They had exclusions in their policies that they might not have even known before. And so with Willis, we're able to potentially reduce costs. We can minimize that audit risk because the data needed to underwrite a workers' comp program already exists within Belfry. And so we're able to pass that payroll data to the carriers on a regular basis, so that big surprise bill at the end of the year doesn't need to happen anymore. You're paying as you go, just based on the size of your business and where your officers are stationed at any one time. So a lot of our existing customers are already taking advantage of this, applying for workers' comp applications directly within the Belfry product. Data is already pre-populated for them, so it's really a quick process to do, and it's a no obligation quote.
A lot of the feedback that I've heard is that their insurance premiums are going up year over year, or they're actually not being renewed at all. And that really puts our customers in a tough position.
Okay.
So now just being able to say, hey, we actually have a partner that we work with. It's worked for other customers. It likely will work for you. And it's a great feeling.
Might be able to help save some capital, but we'll definitely be able to make it more convenient.
Not only that, but you're not having to explain your industry and what you do to yet another insurance provider.
100%.
Yeah. We're in our top three.
Top three.
Top three.
Alex, this one's for you. Look, one of the things that obviously in my role, I have daily conversations with our customers. And one thing that comes up over and over again is the fact that our firms can use the insights that Belfry provides to really manage the performance of their officers. And a big part of that is the performance analytics that we provide. So I'd love to get a sense from you, Alex, on what inputs you got as a product and engineering team to start to build out those performance analytics.
One of the big challenges with this field is just the lack of visibility into your officers' day-to-day performance. You've got a distributed workforce. You're not always necessarily with each individual officer day in and day out. So it can be hard to get those metrics to know who's doing a great job and who might need a little bit of additional coaching. And with that in mind, we've really tried to build dashboards to give visibility into individual officers' performance. Things like their, missed clock in. Are they running late frequently? Are they doing all of their different checkpoints and tours that they've been assigned? Are they calling off? And if they're having to, is it excused? Are they giving a heads up? All of these different things can, one, be used to spot when maybe there's an issue that needs a little bit of guidance or correcting early on to make sure your service is to the quality you expect for your brand, but also because it lets you identify the really top performing officers, the people who you want to go and recognize. And by being able to proactively do that, to give them shout outs, maybe identify them for raises or bonuses, it can let you retain your best officers. And that's really going to be the backbone of your business that you're going to be able to build on top of.
Super important.
Yeah.
We do something called an officer of the month. Using that data is really great to say, like, who's showing up on time, who's completing their tours, who's submitting XYZ reports.
Yeah.
Because it's no longer like, oh, I have a warm, fuzzy feeling about this person, I just like them. No, we have data to show who's performing very well, and they're key performance indicators. It's actually something I just used yesterday when I was communicating through a tardiness pattern that I was noticing. It was great. You have the wheel right there, said 47% on time. It's like, hey, I'm not making this up. This is what the data shows. Everybody wants to know how they're doing. Nobody wants to kind of be left in limbo. And so getting rid of the ambiguity and be like, hey, like, this is it. You're doing really well. Like, officers respond to that. Once they see that, like, oh, I didn't realize that I was doing that good, or, oh, I didn't realize I need to step it up. That was really helpful.
And I think the key there too is there's no extra work or logging that anyone in the back office has to do to get access to this. Data is being manipulated and analyzed without anyone having to click any extra steps. Whereas we've heard sometimes companies are tracking this in an Excel or maybe a separate operations report they're filing. And usually when it's an additional task that's needed, that's the first thing to go by the wayside when there's a mountain of other things to take care of.
You want to reward the things that keep your business flowing and effective.
And it marries scheduling, time attendance, operations. I think that's when you get the benefit from everything being in one. It's getting that holistic view of how an officer is doing.
Absolutely.
Number 2 is also related to management and leadership and has been hailed by our existing customer base as being critical for operations. That's supervisor mode in the mobile app, whereas previously and with other platforms too, in order to really manage things as a supervisor in the field, you had to drag out your laptop and log into the web app and, kind of manage things that way. Now with supervisor mode, it's all in the mobile app, so the supervisors and managers can manage their teams in the app. So Jordan, would love your rundown of that.
Yeah, it's been a really exciting one. I think maybe the most vocal positive feedback that we've heard of anything released this year. Team did an awesome job taking a lot of the power that we built into the desktop app onto our mobile experience. To your earlier point, I've heard some of our prospects say, like, their teams will use the functionality of the system they've had before as an excuse not to go out in the field and visit with their clients or visit with their officers because they had to be in front of a laptop to make scheduling changes. And I don't really blame them too. If you need to fill a shift in real time, having to pull over could be unsafe even, and have to pull out a laptop to make that assignment change is tough. So I'll actually pull out my phone here and walk through it. So supervisors can now use the same, as Alex said, the same exact app to manage their teams in real time. They can see live attendance, open shifts, and late punches directly from the bell tower view in mobile. So really similar to our live dashboard view that we have on the desktop app. They can even clock in an officer right from their phone. So timesheets corrections can happen in real time now, not right before payroll or from the desktop app, like a day later or a week later. If you need to make a schedule change too, so let's say there's an open shift here, being able to reassign that shift, post an offer even directly from their phone without a laptop required, now can be done right on the go. So coverage issues get solved when they happen and not hours later. And now because Belfry syncs in real time, any change that the supervisor makes in the app, of course, instantly appears for the back office. No follow-up emails, no double entry. So really excited for that and excited to continue to invest more in that experience for our customers.
Yeah, and hats off, Alex, to you and the team, because pulling that from desktop into a mobile experience is a fundamental challenge.
Absolutely. Team's done a great work getting the UX right to make it usable, and it's going to serve as a great base to just continually build even more functionality that makes sense to be mobile friendly over time as well.
Yeah. And I'm going to stick with you for number 1, actually, which is our chat feature, in-app messaging feature, which has been really awesome to witness our customers adopting and using, because prior to this, our customers, they had to message on third-party apps and texting and all kinds of different places. And so pulling that into the mobile experience and the app experience has been awesome to witness. Would love your take on that feature.
So much of this business is coordinating with your team and getting everybody on the same page. And to your point, this is something you have to do one way, whether you're making phone calls, SMS, you're already finding ways to communicate. But that has some drawbacks, as there's turnover. Not all officers work the same site consistently, so you don't know who's maybe relevant to be told for site-specific information, or when people are terminated and leave the company, they should no longer be included in a lot of these communications. There's a lot of active maintenance that goes into making sure the right people are kept in the loop. It only made too much sense to pull that into Belfry.
From what I've heard from our customers for years, they've been forced to use outside messaging tools. Multiple. So they have these messaging apps, text threads, scattered group chats to communicate with their officers. And
pigeons.
Yeah, carrier pigeons, smoke signals.
Yeah.
But that really created an environment of missed messages, messy visibility, and compliance concerns, where you're having these conversations in spaces that the company is not actively managing. And it was especially challenging when maybe the wrong people were included in the message or the right people were left out.
Yeah, exactly. This smart group functionality is a really powerful piece in this release. And what it does is it allows the back office team to set up a group that will essentially, if an officer has worked at that site in the last 2 weeks or is scheduled to work at a site in the next 2 weeks, we'll automatically put them into this chat channel. And they're not just always in a chat channel for a site that maybe they went and picked up a shift once and they never need any additional information on it. I think in this day and age, the information and technology and alerts and just all of the stuff that's coming in, it can be overwhelming for officers to decipher what is something they need to pay attention to versus what is something that they don't need to pay attention to.
It has just solved the major pain point and made communications that much easier to make sure everybody's staying in the know who needs to be, and nobody who shouldn't be is being kept in those conversations.
Yeah. Huge feature, huge reason why it's number one on our list, right? I'm going to sneak in an extra one because I've been hearing a lot about dark mode and the ability to have the mobile app in dark mode so that you're not shining a beacon on yourself, or also so your eyes stay acclimatized to the dark environments.
Might be the most heavily requested feature we currently have. So super excited to hear all the responses to it.
We've gone through a ton of exciting features that we released in 2025. Obviously, 2026 is upon us, where there are some insane things that we're working on. Alex, I would love to start with you on what our firms can expect from Belfry in 2026 and the things that you're most excited about.
There's, I think, two that I'll call out. The first one is support for earned wage access. A lot of officers are cash flow sensitive. The ability to pull forward the wages that you've already worked and get access to them a little bit earlier rather than have to wait for the pay cycle gives a lot of flexibility to those officers, makes their lives a little bit easier. And so I'm really excited to be able to offer that within Belfry in 2026 as one of our planned releases. I think it's going to do a lot of good to make our officers' lives a little bit easier.
Be a differentiator for hiring too. Being able to put that on a job description has been a big difference maker for attracting talent.
Absolutely. And so another release that I'm really excited about as well is completing an end-to-end workflow in Belfry around hiring. So like we talked about earlier, we have employee management and we have onboarding once they're hired. But the next logical step is to also support applicant tracking. So bringing prospective candidates into your recruiting pipeline and eventually moving them into your onboarding pipeline. That looks like a lot of really cool functionality around posting to job boards automatically, like Indeed and ZipRecruiter, managing scheduling and communications with your candidates, smart surveys and dropout questions, just things that can make this process more efficient, because like we talked about earlier in our conversation, this is a pretty high turnover employee business. And so the easier you make it for your candidates, the fewer will drop out of your process and the more you'll be able to eventually convert into your hires and your trained officers who are able to actually go in and provide the service for your company.
It'll be exciting to roll that feature out this year and really have that be part of the end-to-end solution. And also, to your point, the efficiency that you gain out of having that in tool as well is that all that data flows over. So you don't have to enter employee information and all those kinds of things. It's already there. Absolutely. That'll be huge.
And there's a lot more automated and advanced things that we're excited to do that I won't spill the beans on yet. But think about how open shifts come together in your master schedules into a full-time job description. A few things like that.
Yeah. Well, stick with you, and I'd love to hear from you the same thing as Alex. What are you most excited about in 26?
Yeah, I think one, I'm really excited for what Alex just mentioned, but there's a feature that I've been teasing out to some of our customers at recent conferences and recent events. I think it will really help drive the industry forward. Many of you know that Bell is the name of Belfry's AI assistant, who already helps our customers just navigate the platform and get answers instantly for any help question that they have. And so now she has a new job. and it's a big one. We're rolling out these new shift autopilot capabilities. And so with this, she'll be able to watch your schedule in real time, notice call-offs or coverage risks the moment they happen, and help find the best available officers, reaching out to them on your behalf. So she'll send offers, she'll manage the follow-up communications, and based on how you want to run your business, Bell can actually keep you in the loop for any important decisions. So it's not this fully autonomous thing that it's a black box. I don't really know what AI is going to do. But now it's a tool. It's your assistant that now going from coordinating everything manually, watching the live dashboard, watching Belfry notifications, Bell helps you handle those anomalies really quickly and calmly and takes on a lot of that upfront work without your team getting bogged down for when these inevitably happen. So really excited for that. And another upcoming task for Bells is around some of the client communication. So our officers today are submitting a lot of incident reports, activity reports, doing tours on a day-to-day basis. We want to help consolidate and summarize that information for your end clients so that they know exactly what they should be looking out for in a maybe 50-page PDF report. That's pretty common today for some of our customers. So these report summaries can provide our clients with the most important insights. And also we want to help maybe clarify the meaning of some reports that where grammar and spell check suggestions could just help make it easier to understand and maintain some of the professionalism and the integrity of your brand in client communications. So just a few ways that we're looking to leverage AI to power some of the core experiences, almost expand on what we've already been doing within Belfry and not just maybe add AI to problems that don't exist a ton. So that's a big one.
One of the things that we talk a lot about in relation to our customers is that we very much view our kind of company to customer relationship as partnerships. And what's interesting is I see Belfry very much evolving into being an additional partner for our customers by use of artificial intelligence. And obviously that's all the talk these days. And most tools are looking at artificial intelligence, pulling that in. That actually started for us last summer in an all hands where, Alex, your team really just had a brainstorm about how can we incorporate artificial intelligence. And that was the seed for a lot of the things that we're going to see in 26. So
100%.
Super cool.
Yeah, absolutely. It's finding the problems that we can now solve with AI and not just trying to stick it in to be a buzzword, but truly what are the pain points for our customers that we were unable to find a solution for that we're now able to because of the advances we've seen in AI.
Super cool. I dig it.
One last one.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
Go for it.
We talked a lot today about how Belfry is adding more and more modules or capabilities around the employee life cycle. There's been a big one around the business life cycle that we've touched on throughout Belfry, even from the beginning, the schedule forecast, being able to get a revenue estimate and a contribution margin just from the scheduling data in real time. And so the reason we've gotten a lot of questions and there's been a lot of good stories of companies making use of our financial analytics to find maybe sites that have way higher training hours than their average, and then they start digging in, they realize turnover is really high at that site, and they dig in even more, and it's because there's a security manager on the client end that wasn't really being nice to their officers, and stories of our clients firing theirs because of data that Belfry can show them.
Yeah.
Continuing that trend, we're really excited to provide more financial reporting to our customers. I think it's really important in this industry to marry your operational data, your scheduling hours, overtime, training hours, what's billable, what's non-billable, to your profit and loss statement, and be able to break that down by region, by customer. Now with accounting built into Belfry, firms will no longer have to juggle multiple systems, and it'll be accurate and close to real-time financial reporting. So just goes to show we're continuing to look for ways to innovate and give folks the reporting they need to just make really smart business decisions and lead their organizations in new ways. And yeah, that's a big one that's been a long time coming that we're excited to roll out very soon.
It's huge. Yeah. Accounting, reporting.
Absolutely. Yeah. That accounting data, that financial data, all the different reports. And to your point, marrying that with the operational data to really not just have the profit and loss statement, but be able to dive into it in a way that you can make your business better.
That's why you're not jumping from system to system. Like
Exactly.
You're not jumping all over the place. You've got everything in-house in Belfry.
Yeah, integrations will lose data and lose nuance between them.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. That's our top 10 for 25, and I look forward into 26. If you're using Belfry on a day-to-day basis and you heard something new in that 2025 list that you want to check out, make sure that you check out Bell, who hangs out in the lower right-hand corner of Belfry. You can click Get Help, and Bell will be your AI assistant through those features. You can also visit our knowledge base, and of course, you can always reach out to your customer success manager or our support team as well. If you are not yet using Belfry, we highly encourage you to set up a meeting with an account executive. Go get a demo. It won't cost you anything. See what you can benefit and see how your operations and your teams can benefit from using Belfry and all of the innovation that we're tying into the tool. But for now, I want to thank both of you for spending this time with us.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
It's been a great year. I look forward to a bigger one in 26.
Yeah.